Welcome to Author Interviews for Radhaa Publishing House. I have the honor and privilege of sitting down with Radhaa herself today to dive deep into her fantastic and super unique book called Pillars of Light: Stories of Goddess Activations. So great to speak with you today, Radhaa. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Really great. Thank you.
Great. I'm so excited to dive deep into this book. It was published in 2019, and you go through these different activations from 17 different goddess archetypes, which has such a profound impact on the collective consciousness right now, bringing forth this divine feminine energy and wisdom. And this book is based on interactions that women had by using your modality for connecting with different divine feminine goddess archetypes. So I'd love to just hear first about the process and your modality that you developed for women to be able to make these connections with these goddesses.
Yay, this is so much fun. Well, the modality kind of came to me around 2008 or 9. I had a practice called Golden Goddess Healing in Studio City, and I was seeing people, seeing men and women actually. And in my practice, I had this experience where I would feel like the presence of like an archetype is what I would call it, a goddess archetype. And so that archetype would really want to work with a person, and it was always a goddess. It was always a goddess archetype. And I was very interested in what this all meant, because it would just come into the room, that energy, that archetype. And I started to ask the clients, is it okay if I talk about or introduce this archetype to you? It's kind of this, the energy is here. And each archetype would kind of be aligned to what they were going through. So if they were
Mm.
burning through all that no longer served them, Goddess Kali would come in as an archetype of the divine feminine to sort of help women burn through what no longer served them without the guilt or the shame or the fear. You know, that there was just different archetypes. Kuan Yin would come in to bring a feeling of safety and peace. And so I started to really get into these archetypes and document them. And I was really fascinated by divine feminine archetypes, goddess archetypes. And I was working at that time with a lot of executives who worked in entertainment. And so sometimes I'd get invited to go to the studio a lot. Sometimes there'd be emergencies with the actresses or actors, mostly actresses, because they're more open, you know. And
Mm.
so I would just go and do a session, because if the actress couldn't, was having kind of like a meltdown, we
Mm.
do some work together. And I really, really enjoy working with goddess archetypes as a healing, as a method of healing, and kind of like infusing parts of us that we might be looking for. Or it's not that we don't have them, we do have them. The archetypes really help to activate these frequencies within us that are already innately in us. It's not that it wasn't in us, it wouldn't even appear if it wasn't in us at all. So it's
Mm.
just kind of awakening and activating and that remembrance, but it's a really transcendental experience. And a lot of times people will be like, wow, that's amazing, I have a Lakshmi statue, or I've been thinking a lot
Mm.
about Kuan Yin and meditating
Wow.
on Kuan Yin lately. And so even in my case, I started to mentor with these archetypes, so to speak, on an energetic level. And what that means, it's we bring in that frequency, that knowledge about that archetype, and really start to see where it wants to live in our life, how it wants to express itself. For example, Goddess Saraswati really came into my life as an archetype and
Mm.
really guided me to start the publishing house, to
Wow.
work with people like really one-to-one, to do the coaching sessions and help other people bloom their voices. because divine feminine voices and divine masculine are so needed. And so each goddess has their own frequency, energy, and to answer the question about how it came about with the book, it was kind of like a download where it was like, the next book you're going to do is about goddess activations. So I asked some of my clients, and I asked, and also others that haven't experienced it before, if they'd be open to experiencing it without any bias, and they would just write about their experience. And so it was a lot of fun, and I got to sit with these women for like 90 to 2 hour sessions because they're really intensive. And we're really touching in on what I call like the infinite cosmic records, which is what the shaman does, but it's the records, right? And so a lot of times we all have these patternings and these themes that keep playing out over and over again in our lifetime. And so when we work with the archetypes, it's kind of dissolving and collapsing a lot of the old patterning that is distorted, inverted, or no longer serving us. And it's a way of dissolving these patterns through awareness and consciousness. And it's almost like these frequencies are like an antidote to a lot of the things. So it was a very empowering experience, I think, for all of us.
Oh, wow. Oh, I have the chills hearing about this. This is such a powerful healing modality, as you were mentioning, to help each woman with whatever it is that's coming up for them in that moment. The perfect goddess arises for them, which is the energy they have to tap into themselves. And so by you bringing that goddess into their awareness and them having this deep activation from the goddess and writing about their experiences, what was the next step of that process of putting this all together in the book?
It was, it was an interesting process because we gathered all the women, we did some workshops, we put all their stuff together, and then different women had different, book events and things like that. And the book, I think it's a timeless book because it's not about a certain time. It goes back and forth between past, present, future, and parallel lifetimes. It's very multidimensional because each woman is having her own experience, and I am not controlling that experience. We're allowing what needs to move forward, where we need to go. Like the goddess kind of just starts to open things up for us to see, and lessons that we need to mark complete, contracts that need to be cleared. There's just so many, there's so many levels and layers to it. It's really empowering, and it's not about at all me having any power over another. It's about awakening the power within the person, because I have no interest in that at all. Like my interest is not to hover over others. I'm crystal clear about that. For the most part, when I've done my sessions, and I've been trained through a lot of academics in the energy world, and so I don't I'm well trained, and I don't do it because I need to feed off of people. I do it because it comes through me. My mother is also a shaman and a healer, and it's part of my lineage. And so it's like, I think it's really important to note that, because there are people out there that are doing things because they're getting energy out of it. But I get energy because I'm connecting to source. And I always say, I check myself at the door. It's not my ego coming in, and I like that, because I actually like that feeling when I'm in a session, because I really do check it. And I don't, that's nice to just be able to check yourself and then come into a session and then just be the consciousness actually shifts and changes when you allow it to, and in the presence of another. And that is the only way that we can understand that we're really multidimensional as well, and how we can start to hear the messages and things like that. Because in our everyday life, we all have egos. Like that is just the truth. Like it's just we have our egos. It doesn't mean it's bad. Like egos can be healthy, but
Mhm.
sometimes, you know, when we're doing this work, we don't want to drag any of our stuff in it. Like, and then when we leave, we disconnect and we let go, we shut the door. There's a whole process of preparing for a session. So I always say like my sessions are like 3 hours from preparation to meeting for 2 hours. And then afterwards I have to clear myself so that I'm not
Mhm.
connecting with the person, because I don't want to connect with them afterwards. You know, that was
Yeah.
their experience. And I'm really, I think it's really important to have good hygiene, you know, spiritual hygiene.
Yes. Yes, I'm so happy you brought that up because it's a very important thing to mention when creating the picture of these activations. You're sort of facilitating for these women.
Yeah.
You're a conduit for them to connect deep within and match their frequency to that of the goddess that is coming through. It's really profound work that you're doing, and it's just extremely transformative and alchemical. And I'm curious now, so are there 17 different goddesses that you connect with, or were there 17 different women connecting with a few different goddesses who appeared in different ways?
So it was 17 women, I believe, in the book. I don't have it right in front of me. It's actually on the bookshelf in the living room.
Yeah.
But basically they, you know, I said, okay, before we start the session, tune in to who you're feeling. You know, I let them choose. And it's pretty amazing. None of them chose the same one, or if they came towards a similar one, I would let them know, like, you know. So some of them we had an
Wow.
experience. There was multiple goddesses that came in. I believe one of the writers, experiencers in the book had that, but for the most part, it was just the central energy of one archetype, because, you know, these archetypes are so big. And to me, you can bring in multiple archetypes, but it's really important to master one archetype at a
Mm.
time. And as
Yes.
women, we, you know how like in our society, we have this thing where it's like, are you a good girl? Like, are you a goody two shoes? Or are you a bad girl, a rebel? And
Hmm.
it's like, we are way beyond those archetypes. So that's
Hmm.
like nothing, you know what I mean? That doesn't even encompass like what a woman is. Like a
Right.
woman is everything. You know, we
Hmm.
can have all the archetypes. And so it just depends which archetype is our main. We usually have a main archetype, and then we
Yes.
usually have a few others that are very close behind, that are helping us or part of us. So yeah, it's amazing, because I think it brings healing to women, especially since we've been put in two boxes and we have to choose, and that's not a really great choice. You know, we're more
Yes.
complex than that.
Oh, wow. This is so beautiful. This is so exciting to hear. And I'm just thinking of a quote I heard from the Gene Keys about archetypes, where you have to play with the archetype as it arises for you. And that's a way to not too tightly grip our experiences in life, but play with
Yeah.
it as it comes up, and that it's going to shift depending on where you're at in your life. But I love that you said we have like a main archetype that we're going to really connect with always. I think that's going to resonate so much with people. And I'm sure there's people out there who's just they're perking up hearing this right now, and they want to know how they can use this modality and connect with their own archetypes, their own goddesses. I know that you have a course coming up this fall. Is there
Mhm.
anything you'd like to say about the course, and maybe we can get more people involved to use your modality and to connect?
Yeah, so I'm really excited because you know, we're doing so many books, so it takes a lot of time and energy to do, and we still have more solo books to do. So the fall will be our perfect time to open up, and you know, we're gonna create like a very sacred container, and we're going to work with one archetype a month to really,
Mm.
really embody, to learn about it. We're gonna write with that archetype. We're going to work with that archetype. Um, we're going to do healing with that archetype. We'll actually be doing energy work as well. So we'll be shifting shifting paradigm, shifting energy. And it's really powerful. It's really exciting. And I can never say exactly like what the experience is like, because when the women come into the circle, they're also bringing their energies, and that creates that vortex. It's that sacred vortex. But what I can say is it's going to be an extremely sacred container. And we'll be working again with one archetype a month, and we might even do two. We'll see how the women are. I don't like to overload people. I like to really immerse and feel that feeling of the archetype, so that we can get it down to ourselves, what that feels like. And then we can bring in another archetype and kind of layer them in and see how that feels. And so, in these kind of sessions, the women will learn all about the goddess, the archetype, how to use it in their everyday life, how to use it to bring strength and healing for themselves, how to activate. I mean, so many things are activated, like people's creativity is activated. Your inner writer could be activated. Your inner, whatever it is that you've been kind of holding on to, but it's been way in the back burner, will definitely be activated through these. And women will get healing, but also they will get certified. They'll get certified in goddess activations, and they'll be a goddess activator. And I think it's really important to get proper training for anything in life. I've spent a lot of time committed to, there was a very long section in my life where I just only committed to learning about energy work. Even though my mom is a shaman, I wanted to learn how to use it responsibly, because anything in life, you can just read about it, you can just go on YouTube, but there are a lot of intricacies about protecting your energy, and that will be also part of it too, so that you don't confuse your energy with others. Also, if you're not wanting that archetype right now, you can disconnect from that energy. Again, these are just energies. They just exist. It's not anything scary outside of yourself. These are energies that we actually have within us. They're archetypes, they're frequencies that maybe we've been dormant or whatever. So it's just about awakening and activating and having fun. And it really puts us in the driver's seat instead of just being a passenger in life. We deserve to say, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, and to do it with confidence and joy and happiness and grace and ease.
Oh, wow. This is so empowering, and it just sounds like the ultimate package for any woman who has been drawn to these archetypes or goddesses and wanting to work with them in a very real, tangible, responsible way, as you mentioned. This is absolutely so exciting. I can't wait to learn more about it as these months come along and to see what else you've got cooking up, because you really are this beautiful vessel for the divine, and you take such inspired action that's so careful and thought out, but also extremely intuitive and go with the flow. So anything you have to offer, it's going to be juicy. It's going to be exciting. So thanks so much for putting this beautiful work out there into the world. It's so important, especially right now. I think this is exactly what the world needs, truly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll be sure to also give you a link to the book so you can read it if you're interested as well. I think if you're interested at all in the course, that would be a great way to start. So
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Radha. We're so excited. I can't wait to read this and to learn more.
Okay.
Thank
Bye for now.
you. Bye-bye.